The old team slap.
Yep.
Hey, good day to you. This is Dr. G with my cohort,
Lisa. Did you forget?
No, I was waiting for you, and I thought, wow, man, I don't know if we should start over, just keep rolling. But anyway, we are here. This is
Take
Frisky
300.
Biscuit. Take 300 today. A minute ago we started, and I didn't have record pushed again, so that would have been a very lonely program. This is Frisky Biscuit. Welcome. This is the podcast that sometimes we wonder how in the hell we even got all this stuff turned on and flying in formation. And I know a lot of you youngsters out there do this very easily, but boy, I'll tell you what, this can be challenging sometimes. Today, we've got an interesting podcast for you. We are going to be talking to a young man that's one of the most amazing people we've talked to. And he has a company with his parents that is all about Class C motorhomes, all about service and customer service. And I'll tell you what, this company does customer service like you have not seen before. If you own a motorhome, you're going to be ashamed of the people you bought it from after you hear what these guys say. Also, I've got my cohort,
Lisa.
where we go today, and she's got all kinds of stuff to talk about that we haven't even heard of before. So let's just kind of get started here because we got a lot to do in a short period of time.
Okay. Well, one of the things, I thought we'd just talk about some of the things that are happening in the news. And I found this really great article about a certification that has come about for women. And it's a pilot program in Elkhart, Indiana. And all of you know that most of the RVs are built in Elkhart, Indiana. But one of the things that is missing is enough techs in order to fix our RVs, because we're always in and out of the shop with, we've got these hurricanes going down the road with our RVs. Though. And so they put together this pilot program with an RV Women's Alliance, along with partnering with the RV Technical Institute in Elkhart, Indiana. So these two companies got together and they put this pilot program together to train all female tech certification program. So it's an RV tech program. And they thought, okay, we'll take 12 people, we'll put them in this program, and we'll see how it goes. Well, there was 100 women that put their name into the hat to get the applicants to get into this program. So they doubled the size of the class. So there'll be 24 new women's techs out there that are designed to fix your RV. So I thought that was a really cool program.
Is that chauvinistic or sexist?
Absolutely.
Totally politically incorrect, and we love it.
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to have women working on our RV.
Well, one thing I can say about women, like women pilots, women are very detail-oriented, and they like to do things right, and they're very nurturing. And, I think one of the things with the tech industry that I have found is they're not as nurturing as I'd like. They just get out there, and they're just such bobbleheads that are saying, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
That is my bobblehead.
It is. This is Gary. Got Dr. G and Gary and Lisa. I don't have a bobblehead, though.
Well, women techs. So I'm wondering if they're going to get in trouble, though, with all the political correctness out there.
Who cares? I said, more power to you to have even more people. I don't care if you're green or blue or gray or a woman or a man or whatever. It's like, hey, let's get some more techs out there, especially those traveling techs that come around.
Well, I agree. And I think that is very, very cool. And you are correct. Being a pilot, I find women pilots fly better. Women truck drivers seem to drive better. And boy, you guys are going to hate me for that, but it is true. Women have that touch. Us guys just kind of wrestle everything.
Yep.
And we just kind of beat the crap out of it if it doesn't work. Women nurture it.
So you're saying I'm a better driver than you?
I did not say that.
I did.
No. You're not going to leverage our podcast and national audience to get me to say that.
I think we better move on. Speaking of traveling, hey, did you hear the news this week that California just passed in their legislation that by 2035, according to the Associated Press, all new vehicles will be electric. So they're going to have no gas-powered vehicles. That's new. The news loves to spin things around, of course, and they're saying, oh, no vehicles in 2035. No, it's only new gas powered. You can still buy used cars that are gas powered, and you can 1/5 of those will be plug-in hybrids. But you know what? Washington State just followed California too in doing that. So 2035 is that embarkation point, and I bet you Oregon will probably follow it too.
I'm just really fighting it right now, not going political on that. I'm telling you, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, though, because even by that time, there is no way we're going to get rid of gasoline-powered motors.
Well, the grid isn't going to be able to sustain it. I mean, the federal government is giving them $71 million to help put charging stations on their highways because, okay, there's the government saying, okay, let's put all these cars on the road that you charge, right? But there's no charging stations. And I think one of the things that we're going to see more and more of are these grid panels charging station at people's homes.
Probably so.
You know, overnight you just charge them and you can't just plug them into your house.
But if everybody starts driving electric cars, there's not going to be enough power to power your house or anything else.
I know.
I just don't think, I'm not sure. I'm going to put it out on myself on a limb. I just don't think electric is the answer totally. I think hybrid gas electric is probably still the best way to go and perfect that. But boy, saying you're not going to be able to sell any more gas-powered cars in California, that figures.
Why don't we just jump to the flying cars?
Exactly.
I think that would be more fun.
Now that is a good idea. Flying cars.
Now, flying cars, they'd all be gasoline?
What possibly could go wrong there? Yeah, gasoline, solar, but you got to have a lot of power. But the big thing with flying cars, if they make them electric, it's the batteries, the weight. Flying's all about weight. Just like motorhomes going down the road.
I'd like to see them automated, where you just get in, they come to your house, you jump in, it's automated, you push a button where you want to go, and you put your credit card in, you pay them, and then they take you there, like a taxi. And there are cars that are doing that.
And there's also flying cars. In Dubai, they're experimenting with that right now. These little drones that pick you up and take you right where you want to go, and they just fly right over the whole town. And it's working.
Yay.
So that technology is right around the corner, and I think that's going to revolutionize transportation when they do that. And we're going to have one of those.
Well, we could have an RV like that, huh?
A flying RV, yes.
We'd like to go to this campground and just fly over and jump into it.
As long as you camp at campgrounds that have no trees so you can land.
Well, I found a campground that we use. It's actually on our website, frisky-biscuit.com. It's Harvest Host. And Harvest Host is the fastest growing private company that in the top 100 of Inc. 5000 this year. And I love their mission. I'm going to read it to you because their CEO, Joel Holland, said this mission, and it's working really well. Our mission is to help millions of people live happier lives through road travel while supporting wonderful small businesses and communities along the way. And so they really are accomplishing their mission. And what Harvest Host is really wonderful. There's 7,000 different locations. Things like farms, wineries, breweries, distilleries, churches. And last year, they targeted businesses that were struggling during the pandemic, such as small restaurants, such as churches. And what happens with Harvest Hosts is they allow you to stay one night for free as long as you have a membership. I think the membership's $159 or $199 a year.
It's well worth it.
I can't remember the exact. It's not that much money. Within 2 or 3 stays, you've paid for it.
We ought to know that since they're one of our affiliates.
I know. I get all the numbers mixed up on those. It's not a lot of money, and it's a yearly membership. And what's great about it is every time we've used it at the last minute, say we're driving through and we decide to stop somewhere and we look on their map and their grid and they happen to have a Harvest Host, we stay for the night. And what they ask you is to patronize the business. So if they're a distillery, to go in, maybe have a drink. If they're a farm and they're selling cherries, buy some of their cherries. Well, our very first harvest host we ever stayed at was actually featured in this article I read. And because they were looking at struggling industries, this church called Christ the King, it's a Lutheran church in Lake Tahoe. When we first picked up our van and we were working our way back
We
to
didn't
Idaho.
have a clue how to turn anything on.
Yeah, and we ended up staying in their parking lot. And last year they made $20,000 in donations from people staying in their parking lot.
That was a memorable night. We were ass deep in snow. It was dark. We broke every
We did
RV
every rule wrong.
Every rule wrong. We showed up after dark, didn't know where we were going. There was snow, unplowed parking lot. And then the next morning we got up and there were all these mothers and their children
Yes.
walking across the parking lot, bumping into our RV, attempting to get into the school that we blocked. That was our first Harvest Host experience.
And we didn't know how to do the generator and put it on right. I mean, we had everything
man.
that went wrong could go wrong that one night. And that's what I loved about this interview that we're going to go to today is that they did everything right. Our dealership happened to do everything wrong.
Boy.
So Harvest Host is something to look into. If you do not have a membership, go to our website, frisky-biscuit.com, click on the link under our products and check them out because they're really worth their time and their effort, and we've loved them. And I know a lot of other RVers out there have the membership already and have used them quite a bit.
I think that's probably one of the best values there is in the RV travel business. And man, I tell you what, the cool thing about Harvest Host is you're not really guilted into buying anything. They don't tell you to. You don't have to. It's just the right thing to do. But the ones that we've been at, there's another one over here in central Idaho that I'm going to give them a shout out. It's the winery that we go to, and they got this restaurant in there. And
Why not? It's called Why Not Winery.
And they let you park in the parking lot, and it's just really a nice place, and they're wonderful people. If you're going through Idaho on Interstate 84 and you're in Glens Ferry and you got to have a place to stay, call the Why Not Winery. They're a Harvest Host, and they do a great job taking care of you. So,
well, they have walking trails. They actually have a huge RV park next to them and a golf course. Yeah. Their food is fabulous. Their wine is wonderful and is made right there. And we've met some interesting people that are there. And it's also on the Oregon Trail. So they have a visitor center that you can go into.
Well, it's right next door to Three Island State Park, which is an amazing campsite. If you ever have a chance to stay there, or Harvest Host, they're right there on the Snake River, and it is stunningly beautiful. We love it. And my daughter loves it. They go over there with their little rig.
Yeah. And the Harvest Host there at Why Not Winery, it's free. You know, once you do your yearly commitment to Harvest Host, wherever you stay is free. If you go to a llama farm, you'll have llamas. And what I love is, yes, a lot of times you're staying in a parking lot, but a lot of times you're on a farm. So you really get to know local people in the local area, which also say, hey, go check out this in your local area. So we've had nothing but great comments to say about Harvest Host, and good on you for being one of the fastest growing companies.
And we apologize to the church for infiltrating their parking lot with our school kids.
Yeah.
I just trust they didn't see anything they shouldn't have seen.
No.
Because we could not figure out the blinds. Yeah.
No, we gave them a nice hefty donation, and it was definitely worth it because it was right on our way. You know, another thing that's in the news is there's a real estate entrepreneur that's really jumped on the RV storage, and he thinks it's a really good bet. He just picked up 31 properties in Texas, Florida, and Arizona to store your RVs, your boats, your all-terrain vehicle, all your leisure travel equipment. And I think he is really on something. He just spent $300 million for the next 10 locations that are going to come on in the next 6 weeks. And his goal is to have 400 different properties throughout the United States. And I think he's definitely on something. You know, RV storage, what I've seen, they're either sitting outside, so it ruins your roof, either in the snow or in the sun, so it sits outside all the time, or they're just a covering over your roof, but there's no side bars, so your weather is still getting to you. Or like ours, we actually have a storage bin that we drive it into and shut the door. However, it gets really dusty and dirty because silt still comes in from the ceiling, and there's nowhere to plug it in for the winter. So we're constantly getting our motorhome and going in it too, but we have to check the batteries every couple of days. So I think that's what RV storage is missing, don't you think, is a plug-in?
Yeah, I think the guy builds this thing with plugs so they can plug these things in, keep the battery trickle charged, and keep it out of the weather. The big thing for these motorhomes that we've learned is the roof. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing to protect. Everybody keeps it looking. I'm great on keeping it looking good around the sides, but boy, the roof. You're just on the roof yesterday.
Yeah. We have solar on the roof too. So
she's our resident monkey. Yeah. I'm not allowed to get on the roof anymore.
It's fun. So I think that's a big industry that is viable, and I'm happy to hear it that this entrepreneur is picking up properties, and he's concentrating on those little properties, those little storage areas that he can convert over for all your rec storage. I mean, those of us that are in this industry, as you know, and you are, is we love our toys, and we want to keep our toys nice.
How's the old adage go? Those who end up with more toys win.
Yeah, and they have more fun. I remember my first chiropractor said, the amount of toys is the amount of fun that you're going to have. And it's fun to see on the toys. I've seen a few Frisky Biscuit stickers, our Road Warriors out there on their toys. So that's been kind of fun. And we're heading out tomorrow for the weekend, because it's big Labor Day weekend, to go up to the lake area, that our favorite lake. We're going to show it to you. We haven't shown it before because we've kept it pretty private. However, it's not private anymore.
Try to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
That's like attempting to keep Yellowstone a secret for yourself.
I know.
This place is beautiful, though. It's Redfish Lake, Central Idaho, and man, I'll tell you what. It resembles the Tetons. It's just like a baby version of it in the Sawtooth Mountains, but it is the old-fashioned lodge. It's not overly commercialized yet, and I doubt if it ever will be, but that's where we're going. We're going to do a podcast from there. So
yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of our Road Warrior stickers, so we're going to give those out. We're going to give out some T-shirts and some hats.
We're going to probably interview some of you victims out there, so if you see us up there, watch out. We're going to be chasing you around with the microphone and the camera.
I can't
Making a nuisance out of ourselves.
And what a great weekend coming up. You know, I looked it up as like, how did Labor Day actually get its name? You know, there's no particular significance to the date itself, but Labor Day came back in the 1880s. I didn't know that it went all the way back. Did you?
I had not a clue. I figured it could have been because somebody was bitching about having a baby or something.
Going into labor. It was kind of like that. Because remember, in the 1880s, the late 1800s, early 1900s, that was the Industrial Revolution. So people worked 12 hours a day. Yeah. They had their kids working. If you were 5 or 6 years old and you had some hands and you could do it, they would put you to work. So very few people went to college. You know, they worked. And so the labor industry put together it was called the Knights of Labor. They adopted a resolution to be put in September that you actually got a day of labor off. Oregon, of course, Oregon's always in the news. Oregon, California, Washington, I call them the cows, became the very first state. So good on you back in 1887 to make it a legal holiday. And they made it on the first Saturday in June. Well, Colorado, New York, Massachusetts, and New Jersey followed, and they put it on the first Monday in September. And then there was a big strike that happened.
Details.
Yeah, and back in the 1890s.
Where in the hell do you find this stuff?
The Pullman strike happened in Illinois, and it was basically all these unemployed workers that had all these riots. And they prompted President Grover Cleveland to actually propose a bill to make Labor Day the official holiday. However, it wasn't until 1868 that the Union Monday Holiday Act put the Labor Day on a Monday. Before it was a kind of a roving holiday. So they ended up putting it on a Monday back in the 1860s so they could have a 3-day weekend. And so that's what we're
It seems like a lot of these holidays were roving around. I remember going to school as a kid. They're in the middle of the day or the middle of the week, and then everybody decided they didn't want to work, and they moved everything to Mondays. Now we got these 3-day weekends, and sometimes people steal a Friday to go along with it.
Well, now we just have nobody wants to work.
Exactly.
We forgot the holidays. We just make every day a holiday. Well, KOA did a survey, and they said that 25 million households are actually going to go camping this Labor Day weekend. It's outpaced Memorial Day. One of the reasons, actually two of the reasons. First, camping is a little less expensive, and with everything that's happening right now, families are wanting to save money. The other big thing is the airline industry. All these flights are getting canceled, and especially over the holiday weekends, and people are sick of it. So they're like, let's go camping instead. 34% say they've replaced their vacation plans with camping due to inflation. So they're going camping instead of taking these other types of vacations. And 31% said it was the difficulty of the flights. 28% said they just love going camping, so they're going camping this weekend. So have a great time. We're going out there and enjoying Labor Day because it's labor free, right? Having fun. And that's what we're all about, is giving you all this fun information so you can go have fun and drive out there on your vacation.
You know what? I'm looking at the clock, and let's talk about IWS just a little bit.
Okay.
And we had quite an experience there, and pretty impressed. You know, there's RV dealers, and then there's RV dealers. And these RV dealers that we visit and look at, you know, they're all good people. They all have good intentions, and they really, some of them are doing a great job. Particularly, you know, the one that we bought our leisure travel van from, not going to mention the name. However, they're one of the biggest in the country, and we thought bigger was better. And then after buying, you realize there's a lot of promises made and they're not kept, especially in the service area. Well, we went over to a little town in central Idaho. You'd never expect to see these people there. Mountain Home, Idaho, just outside of Boise. And we walked through the door, and one of the cool things is they greeted us like they'd known us for 100 years. And they have these big screen televisions, and they had our Frisky Biscuit logo up there, said, "Welcome, Dr. Gary and Lisa. They're going to be interviewing us today, and please be cordial to them and address them." And they did. Everybody in that building knew our names.
And they sell these big Super Cs, which is a truck on the front. So their chassis are Freightliners, Peterbilts, Volvos, and then their motorhome on the back. And they run $400 to $2.2 millions of dollars on some of them. And they're competing with the Class A's now. The benefit of them is they have air ride, so they ride actually better. They have more storage, and they can pull all the toys. And so they're competing with the Class A's.
They're basically a semi-truck with a motorhome on it.
Yeah, and when you read the reviews and you watch the testimonials, you can go to YouTube and watch any of their videos on IWS. They've really done a great job with that. The things that people are saying is you can buy Class C's. You know, they're Renegades, they're Jaycos that are building the body part of it in a lot of different dealerships. The reason why they're choosing IWS is because of the service. They service the coaches there and the way they're treated. The way we were treated is we walked in, they didn't know who we were. We had to wait a half an hour before we even picked up our van, which we had already waited 13 months to get. Then we had this flunky that was brand new taking us through that didn't even own a motorhome. The difference is we walked in, they were like, "Oh, hey, Lisa and Gary, how you doing?" We were a little shocked. Then we went into the waiting room. They had our name and our logo saying welcome. They gave us 2 hours of their time just to show us around, and that's what we're going to talk about in the interview today. And they actually fix your motorhome right there.
The contrast is what you're saying is, so people are clear, when we picked ours up, it was Amateurville, like they really didn't care, picking up a $250,000 motorhome, and they acted like there's nothing to it. These guys, you buy a trailer from them, just a little trailer, a utility trailer, and they act like you're the only customer in the world. And that we were just interviewing them, and they treated us that way. So let's go to Ben, because Ben is the son of the owner of the company. And a lot of times we say that, or you think that, and you think, well, he's probably just a privileged little brat that is going to inherit everything. But this young guy is an innovator. He's brought video into their program. He's brought customer service into their program. He's an amazing young man. And he showed us around, treated us like family. And I cut my finger getting in a $1 million motorhome, and I was dripping blood. It was so embarrassing. My hand, I don't know how I did. I just get in and I scraped it on something, and Ben walks up and he says, "Are you bleeding?" And I didn't even know I was. But all over the...
And he ended up cleaning
it up.
And he ended
up cleaning it up and didn't make a big deal out of it, which I appreciate. I was so embarrassed. But that's the kind of people they are. And then one of their other people, I think is the manager of the company, brings out a bunch of Band-Aids.
Tell you what, our next motorhome, we're buying from them. We may even buy a Class C so it can pull our motorhome.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can pull 25,000 pounds.
And we're going to work really hard to talk Dean into giving them the dealership for leisure travel van.
Yes.
Man, I tell you what, these guys are worthy of it. Their service department, I swear, is cleaner than the hospital that we go to. It was beautiful, and you're going to see that, a little bit of that on the video. So let's go to Ben, and if you ever have a chance, visit this place. Call them ahead of time, and you're going to get the royal treatment like you've never had buying anything.
Hi, welcome back to Frisky Biscuit. Today we are here with Ben from IWS Sales. Thank you, Ben, for coming on today to Frisky Biscuit.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much. It's really exciting, and I'm glad for the opportunity.
Tell us a little bit about IWS, about your company, how you evolved, and how you got involved.
Yeah, so you got to kind of go way back, and I'm speaking on behalf of my parents, Chuck and Lori Ciccarelli, who started the business. 25 years ago, my parents started Valley Towing and Idaho Wrecker Sales. So we were a towing company. We owned about 10 or 15 trucks for about 15 years. And we started Idaho Wrecker Sales, which is IWS. That's what it stands for. And we made our living in the towing industry forever. We built towing equipment, and we also were on the side of the road towing. When I was a baby, I would be in the back of the tow truck, So we've really gotten to know trucks our whole life. I've been in one. I'm very comfortable in one. But long story short, we started these two companies, and for years we had made our living in the towing industry, getting a real name for ourselves in customer service. Mm-hmm. So for any of you that knows a towing company, they're all about being on the road and having the truck working for them. And at any point, if the truck breaks down, their livelihood is affected. So the truck's down, you can't make money, and people can't work. And so if one of our Idaho Wrecker Sales trucks breaks down, we take it personally. Mm-hmm. And so we've got a name and reputation in the towing industry that we're not going to let you down. Our trucks are reliable, and if they do break, which they inevitably do, we're going to be there for you. We kind of some of the people that offer 24/7 service, we give people our cell phone numbers. We're there to take care of you in the middle of the night. And that's really where it all started. And we made a real niche for ourselves selling high-end equipment. So we sell you the truck that has the most horsepower. We sell you the truck that has the best toolboxes, the best lighting, and some of the most custom things for your company. And we did that for 15 years. And about 10 or 12 years ago, my parents made a little money, and they wanted to buy their first motorhome. Mm-hmm. And buying their first motorhome was not a very good experience. So my dad talks about the very first dealership he went to. The salesperson was very pushy, very in your face, and they would take my parents in the golf cart, as they do, and they would run you around and showed him every motorhome that he didn't want to see, which is very frustrating. And we wanted a Super C, and the guy says, "You don't want one of those, or a truck." And one of the things that really made him upset was he said, hey, Slick, I want to show you something. And he says, young man, my name's not Slick, it's Chuck. And he goes, Chuck, Slick, what's the difference? And he goes, well, I'm going to show you the difference. And he never went back to that dealership. But long story short, we felt like there was a better way to do it. With our towing experience, and we wanted a Super C. We actually bought a Dynamax, was our first one for our personal motorhome, and we loved it. But the service that was offered and the product that was offered just wasn't up to our standards. And that's when we met Renegade. We started doing some research, and we met Renegade RV. And we actually flew out and met Renegade and met Danny Lagunas and some of their people, and we felt culturally well aligned, and their product was superb. And they really had the same values of customer service as we did. So we said, hey, we'd like to set up, and we actually, before we even bought our own, we became a dealership for Renegade.
Oh, wow.
And our plan was we were going to sell 2 to 3 units a year. And our first year, we did about 20. And fast forward to 2022, we're selling on average about 80 Renegades a year, which is quite a bit, at least in the Super C market for some of these vehicles. So that's kind of the long story short of it, of how we gotten started. And we really try to treat our motorhome customers like we do our towing customers. Is we want to keep you up on the road. If your slide out doesn't work, we take that personally. And so does Renegade. And now we've teamed up with Newmar as well, who has the same values. And we're just 100% customer focused and keeping you up and running.
So the Super Cs, for anybody that doesn't know the Super Cs, I'm sure most everybody in our audience does, are a Freightliner chassis or Peterbilt chassis, a truck chassis along with the motorhome. What's the difference between your Super Cs, the Renegade Super Cs, and those that are the wannabe Super Cs?
Well, I'm really careful about talking bad about our competition, but here's what I'll say.
Wannabes.
Yeah. Well, so Super C is kind of a slang term. It's actually not. These are all technically Class Cs. Super C came around so you have your Class C, which is typically like a Ford E450. It's a little bit bigger than like a Mercedes Sprinter van, but it's a Class C. It's got a van or a truck on the front of some sort. And Super C came along when people started seeing these big Freightliner trucks that are, over 30,000 GVWR and things like that. So, a lot of our Renegades are, like one of the ones I was showing you today, the Renegade Icon, that's a 60,000 GVWR vehicle. So that is just, in terms of cargo carrying capacity, towing capacity is about 40,000 pounds. Our vehicles are built for are true commercial grade trucks. So they're designed for over-the-road trucking. They're meant to haul. Like the Icon I showed you today, its gross combination weight value is 80,000 pounds, and it has a rating from Freightliner for 1 million miles. So it's designed, the brakes, the tires, the suspension, the engine, the transmission, everything's designed for 80,000 pounds all day long for 1 million miles, and a lot of people go, wow, that many miles. And that's, these trucks are built for drivers that make their living in them. So they're comfortable. They're designed so that people, men and women across America can, be comfortable in them. Because if you're spending 8 hours plus a day in them every day of the week, Monday through Friday, they have to be that way, you know, and they got to be reliable. And, we made a good relationship with Werner Trucking. They bought a Renegade from us, and they keep America moving. That's their motto, right? And so that's what these trucks are built for.
And your customers that are coming, that are buying the vehicles, are most of them towing? Because I know you have a lot of really cool towing vehicles, and I love the one that you could tow your 2 race cars in.
Right. Yeah, so if you get to know Super C customers, they're really about the chassis. They're about performance. And whenever someone says, hey, what's the difference between a Class A and a Class C, or Super C, is 100% the truck and chassis. And many of our customers are racers or people that are towing something because they want the tandem axle, they want all the towing capacity in the world so that they can tow these double-decker stackers, trailers like we have to haul their race car in them or haul their collector cars or haul their dune buggies. We have a lot of people that go down to just Moab and they're carrying just their side-by-sides, golf carts, things like that. But I'll also say we have a lot of customers that don't tow anything but a Jeep Wrangler. They're flat towing. But they just want the driving experience. They just want the 600 horsepower. They want that truck style chassis. They want the turning. They want all of that. And so Super C kind of has a tendency to be all about towing. Well, yes, that's a main factor of why you go with the Super C over Class A is towing. I would also say there's many other benefits as well.
And I love the fact that you actually service everything here at your facility. If somebody's out on the road, because I know you sell all over the United States and Canada, they can service their chassis at any truck facility. Is that correct?
That's right. So one of the main reasons you buy a Super C is serviceability.
Right.
So we sell primarily Freightliner here. You can get other models from us as well, like the Peterbilt. But currently, the Freightliners are one of our best-selling units. And Freightliner has some of the largest network of dealerships across the country. And they're a true over-the-road commercial truck, so they don't care if it's got a motorhome on the back. You know, they can just tilt the hood. The drive line is still accessible, even through all the cargo compartments. So if someone has to work on your motorhome, they don't have to go inside the coach. They can actually go through the doors in the front. You know, and many Class A customers are very frustrated, and that's why they kind of make the transition over, is because if they have any major engine servicing that needs to be done, most of them have to go to the back of the bathroom, tear the cover off. And many Freightliner, many diesel repair shops are very intimidated by rear engine pushers because, you know, the driveline spinning sideways. It's a very tight compartment, and just they don't really have the mechanics that are used to that. In fact, Idaho Wrecker Sales, we used to be a diesel repair shop, and when we were doing that, we decided to quit working on Class A's, usually because we have to charge double the labor rate. It takes us way longer. Usually the customer's frustrated, and usually we're frustrated. So I actually have a short story. I had one of our customers call me. She was getting she was getting their oil changed, and she called her Freightliner dealership in town, and she said, "Hey, I have a Renegade motorhome I need to get for an oil change." And they said, it's probably going to be about 4 months before we can get you in, and on any motorhome, it's about double our labor rate. And she says, well, I have a Freightliner Cascadia. What's the deal here? And they go, "Why didn't you say so? We'll get you in tomorrow." And she was in and out in an hour. You know what I mean? It's a very easy process when they know it's a commercial truck. And so we tell all of our customers, hey, when you're getting your Freightliner service, tell them it's a Cascadia or M2 because they don't care what else is on it.
And are most of your customers that buy your Super Cs, are they new customers? Are they ones that have had trucks in the past? Who buys these? I mean, are they Class A people too that are switching over? Because I know we have a couple of friends that are leaving the Class A world and going into the Super Cs because they're so much more affordable in a way that they're able to service them, they're able to drive them longer, and they don't have as many repairs.
Right. Yeah, so we're really all over the board. I think many people think Super C buyers are just people that are used to be truckers. Mm-hmm. Not the case. We've had people that are very first-time RVers that buy 45-foot, 600 horsepower monsters. I've had people that have driven trucks all their life that buy one, and we've had many Class A transitions too. So it's I would say the Super C is really growing. It's a really big industry now. And a lot of people are transitioning over from Class A to Super C. One I'll say is Super C's really come a long way in the last, it's relatively new to the motorhome industry. It's, I think Renegade is about 25 years old, and they were kind of one of the pioneers of this Super C thing, big truck. And so the history just hasn't been there. So it's kind of taken this long to kind of get the info out there. And when you're going down the road, you're used to seeing the Newmars, you're used to seeing the Tiffins, the Winnebagos. But then all of a sudden this white truck comes by you with the bunker over the cabins on a Freightliner. Everybody usually Googles white Freightliner motorhome. And that's kind of where it starts. And then you find out about Renegade, you find about, Newmar also offers one now. And so it's getting there, and you see like Thor is starting to come out with one, and every motorhome manufacturer is starting to come out with one. Jayco Seneca's been around forever. These things are just coming out now. So,
and IWS is partnered with Newmar, Renegade. And Newmore's new to you, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we sell two Super C brands, and that's the Renegade RV, and then Newmar is new to us in the sense that they've just built Super Cs starting in about 2020. So they're relatively new. Now, Newmar, of course, is very established. They've been around since the 1960s. They like to pride themselves. They were the first one to invent the slide out. So we were so excited when Newmar was coming out with the Super C product. One, because we've gotten several Newmars on trade, Class A's, and the quality is amazing, and they're beautiful. And what we loved about Newmar, so one thing to just kind of brag about them, they have, I think, over 100 dealers across the nation and into Canada as well combined. And they only have about 6 or 7 Newmar dealerships, Super C dealerships. So when they first came out with the product, they wanted to find dealerships that really knew the truck Super C world. And that's why they partnered with us, is because that's really where we've made our niche. They didn't just give it to any Class A dealership in the world that just because they were a dealership for Newmar. They were really focused on the customer and the dealership that would provide the best experience. And that's why they teamed up with IWS, because we know that world. We know that industry. And we love Newmar for their customer service. But, Renegade's been with us forever. We love them. My family owns a Renegade Classic. So if that tells you anything what we own. But we love both companies. They kind of offer something different.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. I think you guys kind of saw the difference between the Renegade and the Newmar.
Yeah.
Both high quality product. Some of them just offer different things, and that's why we have both options.
And those that want a Super C and would like to get in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us. Go to our website. I think is probably the best way to get started. Go to www.iwssales.com. You can find our phone number there. You can find our general email there to reach out to us. You could always call us at 208-587-2888, and you can ask for one of our salespeople to talk with you. Any questions, you can come visit us anytime. We do ask that you do call us and set up an appointment so we can give you, we're a small company, so we only have a few salespeople, and we really try to give you a full time when you're here, and we're 100% focused on you. And we have a really big YouTube channel. I would say go to IWS Sales on YouTube, and my dad and I do walkthroughs of our coaches. So that's a really good way to get educated on the product. Is we do hour-long videos, because like I said, some of our customers are coming from New York. They're coming from Florida. They're coming from all over to buy from us, and they're doing that because of our videos. They're feeling confident that we're going to educate them, and they feel like they're making an informed purchase. So check those things out about us.
Okay.
We really, really appreciate Ben talking to us, and the time we spent was much longer than that interview. But we really recommend also you check these guys out. If you're serious about buying any kind of a motorhome, whether it's a little one or a big one or a trailer, or even a toy hauler, man, their customer service is over the frickin' top.
They also have these really cool trucks that are...
Oh, the Hennessy.
Yeah. I was just like, what is this? I'm not really that much of a truck girl. However, after going and meeting Ben and going to IWS, I'm way more of a truck girl now. What I really, really, really am impressed with, not only their YouTube channel, that's worth going to. I didn't think I could sit for an hour and watch a video on them and their trucks. His dad and himself are really engaging and show you everything you need to know, and they give you an iPad. When you buy your vehicle from them, you have an iPad that has all the videos on how to fix things. You have their private cell phone numbers. You have your iPad will actually do everything in your motorhome.
It runs
like
the motorhome.
Level it.
Yeah.
It runs everything. So if you want top notch, these are your guys. I mean, I'm going there next. You'll see us again, Ben, for sure.
Like we sat after we got done with the interview. Lisa and I sat the other day and watched a lot of the videos after we got back to the office. And man, I'll tell you what, Lisa says, I think I want to go buy one of those things. I mean, they really are motivating, but it's the customer service, because any of you have owned a motorhome, and you know what I'm talking about. Getting this stuff fixed, because they got so inundated during the big rush and the COVID that they sold so many they couldn't keep up with the service, and then we had the parts shortage and all this, and it's still going on. These guys don't care. They just seem to take care of you anyway, and they'll figure it out. And they're with you 24 hours a day, and they're serious about it. Another thing is they are smart. They only work on their customers' vehicles, where a lot of these companies work on everybody's, and they just suck in the business in. But, man, and by the way, they're not paying us for this. Some of you may think they're endorsing us. They're not. We're endorsing them. And
you could pay us with a motorhome. Actually, we love our leisure, though. I would probably keep both. Maybe pull our leisure along with the
leisure be our
Class
driver.
C.
Some of those trailers they had, I think our leisure would fit inside.
God,
of
they're
one of those.
trailers too. You could eat off the floor on one of those. They were just beautiful.
They are. They got such high quality, beautiful equipment, and their shop. You know, I'm a shop guy, and it was just so nice. I mean, you know, another thing is they're close to Mountain Home Air Force Base, so a lot of their mechanics are old jet mechanics, and these guys are impeccably clean, and everything's got to be precise. You open up the one toolbox, it looked like surgery equipment. It was just spotless. So anyway, IWS, Mountain Home, Idaho, check them out. They are well worth the tour.
Okay.
What do we got? Anything
That's
else?
it. We're
Man, I think
done for Labor Day. We're going out there
I
to
think
enjoy.
we beat this one to death today. And we want to thank, by the way, we had some comments. You had some comments with people, and
Yeah, we thank you for your comments. We write back to you, and keep them coming. We love it, either through our website, frisky-biscuit.com, or on our YouTube channel, Frisky Biscuit Podcast. And you can hear us on all the radio channels or podcast channels like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Deezer. I mean, there's 18 of them. You will find us. If you're looking for Frisky Biscuit, you'll find us.
we're out there somewhere. So until next time, we're going to be doing a little bit of traveling ourselves. You'll be able to see that video when we get back with it. And until then, keep those comments coming. Please like and subscribe to this channel here on YouTube. And if you're listening to one of the podcast channels like Spotify, also do what you can do to reach out and let us know you're there. Okay, until next time, this is Dr. G.
And Lisa.
Saying bye-bye. We love all of you. Have a great week.